Hey there, my name is Onision, and today I want to talk about the best friend I ever had. This guy right here, Jad. Jad was a military brat at Fort Lewis. In this context, that means his dad was in the military. Jad and I attended Lakes High School together. Although we never had any classes together, we somehow wound up hanging out with each other, and I can't even remember what triggered that. We kind of just wound up being friends. And that's kind of a spectacular fact, considering through most of high school I basically had zero friends. So Jad used to go out of his way to pick me up from the condo I lived in, and bring him all the way to his house to hang out when we had free time. He was the first person I ever played Halo with on the Xbox. He was also the first person I remember watching anime with. In fact, I'm pretty sure he introduced me to it. As some of you may know, anime is a pretty huge part of my life. One of the coolest times I ever spent with Jad was spending the night at his house. We talk about anime, The Simpsons, and life in general. We'll say this is a picture of Jad listening to my music, and he was in fact one of the first people to ever hear it. But reality is he actually hated it. At first he said my music sucked, so I turned it up, and then he said something that I won't forget. Turning it up won't make it suck any less. And he said that while laughing at me. Anyway, down the line I wound up making Banana Song, which wound up getting around 50 million views on YouTube, and I'm sure I partially owe that to Jad for pushing me to improve myself and my music skills. In fact, here's an example of what Jad said sucked. Anyway, so clearly I've improved since then. Jad was also the first person I ever remember doing a comedy sketch with. We used to record our voices on a computer and just kind of create our own worlds. An example of one of the sketches we did was the following.
Okay kids, now we have Eric Johnson, our National Honors student, coming up to sing the National Anthem. Everyone give him applause.
Good! When I was 17, I drank some really good beer. I purchased a fake ID. My name was Bang. You're back! You suck it! Wait, you mean that didn't make me cool?
So looking back, that sketch was probably a subconscious statement about how the one guy in the audience who was supportive of Eric was an expression of the fact that I only had one person supporting me at the time, which was Jad. Anyway, so I wound up joining the Air Force, and Jad wound up being a missionary in Japan. Jad wrote me a few letters while I was in the military, and as I remember, I wrote him a few emails. One day down the line, I decided to call him to find out more about his life as a missionary and just to check up on him. And his mom answered the phone, breaking into tears, right after I asked, "Is Jad there?" She told me that Jad had died of a blood-related condition, and that was it. That was my friend Jad. And I just wanted to share the story of the best friend I ever had. Jad never lied to me. He never let me down, and he was a better friend to me than I was to him. Anyway, I just figured I should do something. Because even to this day, it still hurts when I think about him.